In this video, we'll be taking a look at 3 college football games happening on November 9, 2024, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games, so 6 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 3 college football games after fully watching this video. One thing before we start, if you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below, where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Purdue versus Ohio State. The Purdue Boilermakers face a challenging journey to Ohio Stadium this Saturday, where they will go up against the number 2 Ohio State Buckeyes in what promises to be a high-stakes Big Ten matchup. This season has been rough for the Boilermakers, who currently hold a record of just 1-7 overall, including a winless 0-5 in conference play. Meanwhile, the Buckeyes, fresh off an exhilarating road victory over Penn State, return home with a strong record of 7-1, including 4-1 in the Big Ten. Ohio State is determined to maintain its top-tier position in the college football playoff rankings, making this game pivotal in their pursuit of a conference title and a potential playoff berth. Realistically, Ohio State is expected to win this game, and likely by a comfortable margin. The key question is not so much whether they'll win, but rather if they can secure a victory with a margin close to 40 points. At the start of the season, Ohio State looked like a team capable of dominating with high-scoring games on a regular basis. However, in recent weeks, the Buckeyes have adopted a more conservative, run-focused offensive approach. Despite having an impressive group of receivers, Ohio State has leaned toward a ground and pound style that allows for longer, more controlled drives. Offensive coordinator Chip Kelly has tailored the game plan to suit the strengths of their quarterback, Howard, emphasizing a steady running game over quick, explosive drives. Although Ohio State still ranks 10th in the nation in scoring offense, they haven't hit the 40-point mark since Week 3. Conversely, Purdue, ranked a lowly 125th in scoring offense, showed signs of improvement last week with Card back as their quarterback. Card's return provided a boost as he brought a more efficient passing game to the table against Northwestern. Although he'll face a tough test against Ohio State's formidable defense, Card could potentially manage a few scoring drives to keep Purdue from getting completely shut out. From a betting perspective, there's little reason to support the Boilermakers, who have struggled on both offense and defense all season. Purdue has gone just 2-8 against the spread in their last 10 games, even while being significant underdogs most weeks. However, the spread for this game is steep, and that presents an interesting dilemma. The Buckeyes, coming off an emotional win over Penn State, may be more focused on simply securing the win rather than running up the score. With the Big Ten championship and a possible playoff run on the horizon, this game could fall into a win and advanced mindset for Ohio State. It's also worth noting that Ohio State is 1-2 against the spread this season when favored by 30 or more points, making this line feel overly generous. Given these circumstances, the Purdue Boilermakers to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. The Buckeyes have not reached the 40-point mark since Week 3, as they have increasingly shifted toward a run-first, clock-controlled offense. While Purdue showed a spark of life with Card at quarterback last week, they remain near the bottom of the national standings in scoring and total offense. This week, they face an Ohio State defense that ranks 3rd nationally in both scoring defense and total defense, having allowed 20 or more points in only one game this season. Ohio State's only loss, a 32-31 defeat to Oregon. This stout defense is expected to contain Purdue's offense and prevent any significant scoring. In last year's game between these teams, Ohio State did the heavy lifting on the scoreboard, resulting in a combined total of 48 points, falling under the projected 53.5-point line. In the past 5 games, the Buckeyes haven't scored more than 38 points, and they won't need to in order to come away with a win in this one. On the flip side, Purdue has managed to score 10 points or less in 3 of their last 5 games, and facing one of the nation's top defenses will only compound their offensive struggles. This matchup appears likely to mirror last season's low-scoring affair, with Ohio State possibly able to rest some of their key players later in the game if they build a comfortable lead. The under has hit in 6 of the last 10 matchups between these two teams, and we expect that trend to continue. Consequently, under the projected total is our full game total pick. Miami, Florida versus Georgia Tech. This weekend, two Atlantic Coast Conference rivals clash in an exciting matchup as they each aim to secure a much-needed win. The number 4 Miami Hurricanes are hitting the road to face off against the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets in Atlanta on Saturday afternoon. Miami enters this game riding high after a dominant performance in their previous outing, where they claimed a decisive 53-31 home victory over Duke. They managed to cover the spread as 21-point favorites, further solidifying their status as a powerhouse this season. Meanwhile, Georgia Tech is coming off a disappointing 21-6 road loss to Virginia Tech on October 26, where they failed to cover as 11-point underdogs. The Yellow Jackets had a week off following that loss, giving them extra time to regroup. Historically, these teams have been evenly matched, with each holding 14 wins in their all-time series. Georgia Tech, however, won the most recent meeting on October 7, 2023, narrowly edging out Miami with a 23-20 victory on the road. Georgia Tech is hopeful that their starting quarterback, King, will be back in action, as they noticeably struggled in his absence against Virginia Tech. The Yellow Jackets will face a significant challenge, however, as they contend with a high-powered Miami offense that leads the nation in scoring. Miami's quarterback, Ward, has been in the Heisman Trophy conversation all season and boasts an array of skilled receivers and offensive playmakers, making them a tough opponent for any defense. Additionally, Miami still has fresh memories of their disappointing loss to Georgia Tech last season, when a late fumble allowed the Yellow Jackets to secure a last-minute victory. This year, Miami appears highly motivated and seems poised to dominate their Atlantic Coast Conference rival, aiming to remain undefeated. Thus, for this game, the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. Miami has consistently hit the over in nearly all their games this season, posting an impressive 7-1 mark through their first 6 matchups. In particular, the Hurricanes have gone 3-0-1 in hitting the over during their 4 road games, surpassing the line in victories over Florida, Louisville, and California. They also pushed the total in their road win over South Florida, where the teams combined for 65 points. Georgia Tech, on the other hand, has leaned towards lower scoring games, staying under the projected total in 7 of their 9 games so far this season. At home, 4 of their 5 games have also fallen under the expected total. However, with Miami's prolific scoring ability, there's potential for a high-scoring game, making over the projected total our full game total pick. Florida versus Texas. The Southeastern Conference kicks off Saturday's football action with an early matchup featuring the Florida Gators, who currently stand at 4-4 overall and 2-3 within the Southeastern Conference, facing off against the number 5 Texas Longhorns, who boast a record of 7-1 overall and 3-1 in conference play. Remarkably, despite being 2 historic programs, these teams have not squared off since 1940. This season, however, marks Texas's first as a member of the Southeastern Conference, setting the stage for a new chapter in their football history. Florida enters this game after a tough battle against number 2 Georgia, where they ultimately fell 34-20, narrowly covering the spread as 14.5-point underdogs. Meanwhile, Texas is coming off a bye week, with their last game being a narrow 27-24 victory over number 25 Vanderbilt, a contest in which they failed to cover the 16.5-point spread. Florida put up a spirited effort in the early stages of their recent game against a powerful Georgia team, managing to stay competitive in the first half before falling behind in the end. In that game, the Gators amassed 228 yards of offense, with 113 yards coming through the air, but they also committed 2 turnovers. Florida struggled on third downs, converting only 3 out of 16 attempts, which hampered their momentum. This loss brought them back down to earth after a high-scoring, 48-point performance against Kentucky the week before. For Texas, the extra time provided by their bye week offered a chance to recuperate and prepare after their tight win over Vanderbilt, a game that saw them struggle in the second half, being outscored 14-6. Penalties were a significant issue for the Longhorns in that matchup, as they racked up 10 penalties for 107 yards, which hindered their ability to put the game away. As we approach Saturday, keeping an eye on the injury status of Florida's quarterback DJ Lagway will be crucial, as he has been dealing with an injury that may impact his play. Still, the spread might be too high for a Florida team that has shown the ability to remain competitive in certain situations. The Gators have kept things close against some strong conference opponents this season, and underdogs within the Southeastern Conference have frequently defied expectations. Given Florida's record of staying in the game against tougher teams, it's likely they could cover the spread as underdogs, making the Gators our choice to cover as the full game side pick. Offensively, both the Gators and the Longhorns have been struggling as of late. Since Week 6, these teams rank outside the top 90 in terms of offensive predicted points added, indicating a general inability to capitalize on scoring opportunities. Both teams average fewer than 3.5 points per trip inside their opponent's 40-yard line, and their red zone efficiency has been similarly lackluster. Although both squads manage over 4.25 red zone trips per game, neither ranks in the top 50 for red zone scoring. Defensively, however, Florida and Texas are among the top 20 in defensive predicted points added, reflecting their effectiveness in limiting opponents' scoring chances. Each team allows fewer than 3.5 points per opponent's trip inside their own 40-yard line, with Texas excelling as the second-best scoring defense nationally, allowing only 11.5 points per game. Given these defensive strengths and the offensive struggles, under the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.